Most of us in this world were either born poor or middle class. Some of us do not care much about money and wealth, they just see it as a means to live, which is good thinking, and an easier way to a happy life. If someone is blessed with such a mindset, he or she can have a very satisfied life, provided other things go well in their life. But, many of us are attracted to wealth and luxury, and very few are able to achieve it. Sometimes, it is because there is not enough fire within to achieve it, and sometimes, we do not know the way to make money, when we give most of our time to our job or profession. We just want our employer to raise our salary. Some lucky ones may get rich through salary, but most will not. So, how can a salaried person become rich? To understand this, first, we need to understand what being rich means. Does it mean driving luxury cars? Or, does it mean living in a 10,000 square meter mansion? Or, does it mean exotic holidays multiple times a year? Or, does it mean making $1 million every year? The answer is, all of this just shows the person has money more than many. But, it does not prove she is actually rich. Being rich is a relative thing. It's the ratio of your income to your necessary expenses, and your assets must be way higher than your liabilities. An income of at least 10 times the total required expenses and assets 4 times the liabilities can be considered a rich condition. It is nice to be debt-free in life, but debt can be used as leverage for growth. But keep in mind, even in worst-case scenarios, our debt must never be able to kill our assets. Many good companies died as they could not manage their debt. Now, how can a person who was born poor become rich? If we were born poor, the struggle will be a part of our early life, and there is no running away from it. Get ready for a long battle. There will be times when you will feel low, but you need to find a way to keep yourself motivated. But as they say, if you were born poor, it is not your mistake, but if you die poor, it is certainly your mistake. So, don't make the mistake of dying poor. And also remember that it does not matter how much money you have, if you cannot keep your expenses very low, as compared to your income, you will always be poor. If you have a unique business idea, then you can get out of being poor very quickly. But, for a person who doesn't have such an idea, studying hard and finding a good job can be a good starting point. The next thing is to save as much as possible. His expenses must be minimum, as this is important to achieve his mission. To become rich. I am not giving a number, as everyone has different mandatory expenses and income, but saving 80% should be the goal after some years of salary growth. If such a person wants to make money with the medium risk, he has to spend 7 to 20 years in his job, depending upon his starting salary and growth. We must insure ourselves reasonably and have an emergency amount to support us in bad times. We must not keep more than this in our saving account and start a systematic investment plan in an index fund. It is best to have a direct investment in stocks, and we can make much higher returns from individual stocks as compared to index funds. But one must always learn about technical and fundamental analysis of stock before investing directly in stocks. We must keep most of our money in index funds till we have generated a consistent return of more than 15% for 5 years. We need to keep doing this till our accumulated wealth is at least 8 times our income. If we think that we are already making much more than our expenses, we can choose to continue with this strategy, and we can become a multimillionaire for sure using this strategy. But, in case you are not satisfied and you want to become much richer, you need to work for 2 more years. 1 year to make money for 2 years of survival and 1 year's savings for capital to start a business. In the stock market, you get an average return of 12 to 15% after waiting for 1 year. However, in business, the moment you sell your product, you make a lot more percentage. So, if one wants to become super rich, he has to dive into the business. This is when we need to have a business plan ready. Here are some tips when you make a business plan. 1. Starting the business must not require more than 1 year's salary. Start small. Learn from mistakes. Have funds to make more mistakes. 2. Don't wait for an out-of-the-box idea. Delaying too much for a great idea can be a bad decision. 3. Study demand and competition before putting in your money. 4. Try to think of simple things that give you an upper edge. Maybe hospitality, lower prices, etc. 5. Don't get demotivated if you fail in business. You have only put a small amount and you will recoup it to some level, as it will not turn everything to zero, and you have a lot of money invested in the stock market which will compensate for this failure. 6. If you fail, don't take money out of the stock market. Get back to the job and return again after 2 years. What are the problems you must be mindful of in this? 1. People tend to start families early. Early expenses slow down our growth dramatically. One must try to stay away from expenses as long as possible. 2. Buying items you don't need, like expensive watches, expensive mobile phones, high-end clothing, etc. 3. Buying a house. There will be a time to buy a house. It will be when you can buy a house on your 1-year income. Till then, pay rent. 4. Too much afraid to quit the job. Rewards and risks are directly related. Take calculated risks. Don't shy away from them. With this, I wish you all the best. Do comment if you think something is not practical. Have a good and rich life.